How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific 3 Eastern, Sundays 3 Pacific 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And it is a Tuesday here on the show, and you know what that means? We got a lot to talk about. Lance Storm is joining us here today. We're going to talk about Raw. Got a lot to talk about with Raw. I was there. You know those shirts? I was there. Yeah, I was there at Raw last night. And it was a fine show. I wouldn't say it was a great show or anything like that, but we did get a very newsworthy angle after all these years. The Judgment Day has imploded. Which, by the way, we could talk a little history of the Judgment Day as well, which is kind of fun. So anyway, we're going to talk about that, plus WrestleMania. You know, every day when the show starts, what's the chat talking about? What are the Twitch homies talking about here today? And the answer today is the WrestleMania card. People not blown away by WrestleMania. And we'll talk about that. Plus, NXT is coming up tonight. We got Dynamite coming up on Wednesday. Dynamite, of course, is the go-home show for Revolution, which is coming up on Sunday. Everybody, that screwed up my whole weekend. Because I thought it was Saturday. Made a whole bunch of plans. Had to change them all. Sunday night, which is sometimes not fun, especially if you're on the East Coast, because Tony just goes as long as humanly possible. And it is a work night, and it is a school night. But we'll tell you the lineup for that show. Also got AEW's version of the former WWE network. MyAEW.com is launched outside the U.S. and Canada. But you get a lot of stuff with that. We'll talk about AJ Francis's contract, the TNA Thursday Night Impact ratings, a New Japan Cup, and plenty more. If you want to text us, 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. F4W Online at gmail.com. F4W Online, Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. At Bryan Alvarez, X, and Blue Sky. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. We got a big Elimination Chamber report here. And also Collision from Saturday, which actually was a pretty damn good show in its own right.
I was not told to watch Collision.
Vinny?
I forgot to text him Thursday night. I figured he'd be in bed. I said I'd do it tomorrow. And then Friday I bought a car. I was busy, and I've been forgotten. John comes out, looks into the camera, and says, "There's a vibe in here tonight."
Sure is.
I'll see. Punk's eyes are bugging out of his head. Seth is still there screaming, "Die, die!" And Seth gets his way. Punk dies. John Cena wins. I thought the finish of this was incredible. Great stuff.
God, Travis Scott. Jesus God almighty. This was exactly like when Hogan used to come to the ring, Dennis Rodman trailing him, and Dennis Rodman was like on another planet. He had no idea where he was at, stumbling to the ring. He had basically have to drag him down there. This Travis Scott was on another planet, dude.
Well, the first time he was on the show was on that Raw show. He was smoking a blunt in the audience.
They go from the hug to a shot of Cena's angry heel face, and they cut right to Rock on. And then he kicks him right in the balls. And the crowd freaked out. The John Cena turned heel. Hulk Hogan, he was getting booed before he turned. It was a risk, but, you know, they were getting sick of the guy anyway. The problem with Steve Austin was he was the top babyface, and there was nobody to replace him when he turned. John Cena's been gone forever. He comes back. It's not like he was going to be the top babyface. They got 50 babyfaces. Cody's the biggest babyface they got. There's no risk whatsoever turning John Cena heel. He's 10 times more interesting now. The Cena and Cody feud is 1,000 times more interesting.
Travis hit Cody Rhodes in the face as hard as he could. I bet that sucked.
This was a big deal, and I didn't see it coming.
You guys need to listen to Observer Live on Friday.
No thanks.
Because some dude called in, all bombastic and outrageous.
Do y'all think that John Cena is going to be the one that turns heel and joins The Rock as his champion?
No chance. And I shot him down. I laughed at him.
Wow.
I said it's not going to happen. John Cena's here to sell tickets and merch as a babyface for his last year. He ain't turning heel.
They need to make shirts for John Cena that just say, "Can you see me now?"
Got to apologize to old Dwayne. I thought that guy was out of his mind. He got me. This is awesome. I cannot wait to see where they go here. In the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Lance is not joining us. I forgot he's got an appointment for his knee today. So he's actually going to be on Thursday instead of today. So looks like I'm going solo today. Not the first time. Well, we got a lot to talk about. So people in the chat talking about WrestleMania. They're pretty about WrestleMania. And it's not just the people on the chat. I mean, tickets not moving quick, as we've talked about. And obviously the high ticket prices. We've been talking about that for a long time. That's a big part of it. Raw did well last night. You know, they did almost 10,000. But ticket prices were pretty high. I mean, for those of you that saw the pictures on Twitter that I posted, people were like, my God, he's sitting with the angels. I was quite a ways up, which was actually interesting because when I looked at the seating map didn't look like they were as high up as they ended up being. I was in the 100 level, which I always thought the 100 level was like lower, but not here, not at Climate Pledge. 100 was, in fact, up with the angels. And those tickets, even the week before the show, were $100 each. I think $118 each I paid. And that was a lot. So, 3-4 weeks ago, those were $200 tickets each to sit where I was sitting for that Raw show. So, you know, they sold a lot of tickets. You know, they did 9,000, 9,500, somewhere around there. But they certainly didn't do 11, 12. You know, there was a barrier to entry for some people, high ticket prices. And with WrestleMania, the ticket prices are even higher. The last I checked, if you want to sit like so far at the top of the building that if you look over the edge, you could fall to your death. I mean, we're talking, I think $400 for a single ticket. Way, way out in the middle of nowhere. And obviously those are going to drop more. But, you know, we're now 6 weeks out, 5-6 weeks out, and fact of the matter is they're asking you, the viewer, to pay a lot of money for what? CM Punk Roman Reigns is a match between, obviously, two of the biggest names in the company, but, you know, the reality is Roman Reigns was gone for months and months and months and months. He came back and won a Royal Rumble, and now they're having a match. I mean, there's no, you know, the story of WrestleMania, it wasn't always like there's a year-long build, but it was the big show at the end of the year. So what are the blow-off rivalries at the end of the year? There's no blow-off for CM Punk and Roman Reigns. They've never had a match before. So it is a first-time match. You know, CM Punk, Roman Reigns in a singles match, Punk defending the title. That's never happened before. But it's not like, okay, well, this is a big blow-off, you know, for a year-long feud, and these are the stakes. You know, what we have right now is CM Punk made fun of Roman's father, who is dead, and now the Usos are very mad at Punk for that. And I guess they had a match at Mania last year, but what does that have to do with this year? What is last year's... Serious question. What does last year's CM Punk Roman Reigns match have anything to do with this year's? Never mentioned. They don't talk about it. You know, all they talk about is you know, last night the Usos got mad at Punk for making a comment about Roman Reigns' father. So, like, that's the biggest match on the show thus far. You got Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, which, again, is a big match, but I guess, you know, I think this was like the King of the Ring finals, if I recall correctly. So it's not even the first time they've been doing it. And, they met in the King of the Ring finals because they were both in a tournament and they both went to the finals. Now they're having a match again, which is sort of the same thing. Randy Orton won the Elimination Chamber, and so he went to the finals. And Cody Rhodes wasn't even in the picture. He lost to the Royal Rumble. He lost to the Elimination Chamber. He lost the world title earlier in the year. But then, because somebody interfered in the chamber match, he was gifted a title match, and he won, and he's now the champion. So that's how we're getting Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton. It's exactly like King of the Ring. They're both baby faces. They're both friends. There's no issue between the two. It's just a match. Stephanie and Liv Morgan, they did a couple of videos to set that up. Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley wasn't even supposed to ever happen. It was supposed to be Jade Cargill and Bianca. And then we've got this Brock Lesnar match where Brock Lesnar is going to wrestle somebody. And who is it? Probably Oba Femi. I can't say that for sure. I think that would at least be a fun match. It's a match I want to see. But, as far as like matches that we actually know who's wrestling who, we're 5 weeks out from the biggest show of the year, a 2-night event, and we have 4 matches. And, the closer you get to WrestleMania, the more you got to pay for your flight, the more you got to pay for your hotel, the more you got to pay for whatever. So as far as like, drawing a crowd from outside Las Vegas, I mean, we should have had a card a long time ago, or at least an idea of what some of these top matches were a long time ago. So there you go. I'm sure they'll come up with every excuse. And, Dave's talked about how, well, they're really concerned about, social media criticism of matches. I don't even know if it's social media criticism of matches. I know people on social media are criticizing matches, but like the matches that they changed for the very reason that I and others thought that they should change them. It was originally going to be Roman Reigns and Cody. And it was like, we've seen that match. I mean, how many times do we need to see that match at WrestleMania? So they decided to change it. Then they came up and like, to solve the problem of a match we've seen too many times, they changed it to another match, which we've also seen too many times, Cody Rhodes and Drew. And then it was like, well, maybe we have seen this too many times. So now it's Cody Rhodes and Randy, which will actually be the second time in a calendar year we've seen this as a main event on a big show. And, what brings people to WrestleMania is storylines culminating in big matches. Not just big names wrestling each other, but storylines culminating in big matches. And we don't have storylines culminating in Punk and Roman, Steph and Liv, Cody and Randy, or Jade and Rhea. They're going to try in the next 5 weeks, but these are not storylines that have been built up over the past year and twists and turns, and now here's going to be the big payoff. And we only have 4 matches on a 2-night event 5 weeks out. So, at Raw last night, I watched the show, and I thought that women's gauntlet in the ring, I thought it was a pretty good match, but, there was no heat. And as I sat there, and boy, I had a view of the whole building where I was sitting, it's not like people were on their phones. It's not like they weren't paying attention. I mean, people were sitting there, and they were watching the matches, and, they watched the whole time, but at the end of the day, it's the second gauntlet match we've seen in 3 days. We had the gauntlet match on SmackDown. Now we have another gauntlet match on Raw. And in both cases, it's not like the winner is getting a championship match at WrestleMania. The winner's getting a shot against AJ on next week's Raw. And I think everybody knows there ain't going to be a title change. So they're watching it. They don't dislike it, but they're not invested in it because there's no big, oh man, Bayley's going to win that title and go to WrestleMania. I don't think anybody believes for a second that AJ is losing the title. At best, you're going to get an angle involving Bayley to do something for WrestleMania. But there was a lot of that on the show. It's like the only thing people were really, really, really invested in, other than, the entrances they got to eat for and sing CM Punk's song. The thing they were most invested in was the breakup of Finn Balor and Dom. You know, after all these years, this group is split. It's been like 4 years in the making or something like that. So people were into it because it was the culmination of a multi-year thing. Anyway, more after the break. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful.
Happy birthday, dear Granny.
Happy birthday, Granny. Happy 95th birthday.
Thank you.
You got balloons behind you as well, Vinny. People can't really see them.
No.
They think it might just be your hump. But it's a very festive
I
day
should not
today.
laugh at that. That's a horrible insult that you just gave.
Yeah,
me.
you laughed. It was a good
But it
one.
was funny.
Happy birthday!
Okay.
Happy birthday, Granny!
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, I don't even know what you just said. Okay, go.
Bye!
Bye, girls. Close the door, please. Rob Wanska, a top fan. That granny is one of a kind. If you cannot see that, you're blind. Whether she's knitting a quilt or giving Brian some guilt, she's the greatest old gal that you'll find.
Was that, who was that?
Producer
That was
Rob.
Rob.
Producer Rob?
Yeah.
Fine
like
job,
that.
Rob.
He has talent?
Thank you, Rob.
Wow.
This is Mariah May versus Anna J. Anna has a problem. Her top seems to want to drop down. She has to keep pulling it up. Mariah pins Anna for the win. I think Anna just gave up due to the fact that her wardrobe was malfunctioning.
That's what happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if they wore decent clothes, it'd be better. Those T-straps are ridiculous.
Those what?
T-straps. Don't you know what a T-strap is?
No, I do not know what a T-strap
I
is.
don't think there's a T-strap in Brian's closet, Granny.
No.
I don't know.
T-strap. Oh, a thong? Why don't you say a thong?
A what?
Never mind. You don't know what a thong is?
No.
Why are we having this conversation?
What part of the body is it on?
Does it go on the
Woman.
top or the bottom?
On your
Butt?
butt. Yep.
Okay.
Granny had to be very careful. So it's a thong.
Why are we having this conversation?
According to the Old Testament of the Bible, who is the father of both Isaac and Ishmael?
Job.
Abraham.
Wrong.
Oh, really?
Abraham.
I just.
Did you say that?
Yes, he
I'm so-
did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're right.
Yeah.
I just didn't hear you.
Well, Granny, I hope you had a happy birthday today.
I had to.
Hey, we got a special present for you. You are officially being inducted, yes, into the Hall of Awesome.
It's about time.
Yes. You know what that is, Granny?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I want everybody to see this. How can I show it?
Clearly, Granny is really excited about being inducted into the Hall of Awesome. She's busy showing off her trophy.
Is that an old gray mare trophy?
It's got a horse on it for some reason. Ready the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. You know, I should mention as I witness the destruction of the Judgment Day. Well, I guess they just kicked out Finn. But anyway, you know this Judgment Day has been around since it started in 2022. And it's funny because originally the Judgment Day was a group created by Edge. He created this group at the 2022 WrestleMania, and they went for like 2 months and slowly added members. You know, they added Rhea and then actually, I think it was Damian Priest first, then Rhea. But anyway, the point is they started this group, and the group this was coming after like the pandemic and the mini movies and the Bray Wyatt stuff. It was a little spooky, And they went about 2 months, and then Edge was just like, I don't like it. I don't like this spooky stuff. I'm out. And so he got removed from the group. Finn Balor ends up replacing him. And as soon as Edge left, because he didn't want to be involved in anything spooky, the group was no longer spooky. And away they went for the next 4 years. And now Finn Balor has been booted out. So, obviously, Finn Balor and Dominic. Actually, it's probably one of the matches with the best, long-term storyline of anything at WrestleMania right now. So, I kind of wish it was for the title, the Intercontinental title or whatever Dom had. There's about 75 titles. But such is life. We've moved on. I should note, after more than 6 years, AEW now has their own fast channel as part of a new partnership with streaming technology provider Keysway. Did I get that right? That may portend the end of their relationship with Triller. Well, everyone's relationship with Triller might end soon. They are having some difficult financial times. It has been announced on Monday, My AEW, outside the U.S. and Canada, will give fans immersive access to live and on-demand events, a dedicated fast channel with ad-supported viewing available to fans globally, and more exciting features to come in the near future. FAST, an acronym for Free Ad-Supported Streaming Television. It'll be found at myaw.com. Episodes of Dynamite's first year are currently streaming in order for U.S. and Canadian viewers. The website also has a coming soon graphic for the AW Podcast Network. Fans outside the U.S. and Canada will get all of their AW and Ring of Honor programming in one spot for one price. There are 3 packages. Once again, this is outside the U.S. and Canada. You can get a $7.99 monthly plan, which gets you Dynamite, Collision, Ring of Honor, and special events, and archive access. This includes, by the way, live Dynamite and Collision. $19.99 plan gets all of that plus all the AEW pay-per-view that month. So that's $19.99 gets you live Dynamite, live Collision, live AEW pay-per-views, and the archive access. And if you pay $119.99 a year, that includes all of the AEW pay-per-views for the entire year. So that is a heck of a bargain. This is going to become an alternative to Triller, which may not be lasting long. And at this point, unclear whether it will be eventually made available to Pluto TV, Tubi, Roku, Samsung TV Plus, Xumo Play, etc. But likely they're going to try to make that work. So, that's the update. If you are outside the U.S., you've got a heck of a deal here. And I got a question for everybody. Obviously, it's a specialized audience I'm speaking to now. But we were talking last night on Observer Radio. Dave got these stats. I guess it would be, he said 2023, 2024 maybe. And I think they were largely from the cable providers. So this would not be your Max, Triller, YouTube TV, or wherever else. The claim is that AEW fans buy, on average, 1 pay-per-view a year. Okay? I find this impossible to believe. Granted, if we go on WrestlingObserver.com, it is a specialized audience full of special people. But, we do polls on there, and there's one actually on the board right now. And literally, it's one person after another. I've bought every single AEW pay-per-view there's ever been. I buy every AEW pay-per-view. I buy every AEW pay-per-view. If you look at the number of buys for AEW pay-per-views, I mean, they average like between 110 and 140 on average for every single show. Some shows go higher. Some shows go lower. On average, it's like 110 to 140 every single show. I can't understand, nor can I fathom, that in the entire AEW universe, on average, AEW fans buy one pay-per-view a year. I think that makes no sense. And I mean, the main thing that I have to say about that is, number one, I can't believe it's true. But this is very important. If that is true, okay, that on average, people who buy AEW pay-per-views only buy 1 out of 8 every year, then everybody that argues that, they don't need video packages, this audience pays a special attention, unlike anyone else in television. They really follow this very, very closely. It's up to the fans to make sure they know what's going on. I mean, those arguments got to go all out the window, dude. If you've got an audience that at best buys 1 pay-per-view a year, then, dude, they ain't watching every Dynamite. They're not watching every Collision. They are, it's largely a casual audience. Hey, listen, I don't believe that. I think that most AEW pay-per-view buyers buy all of them. I find these stats really weird. But if it's true, if that is true, if that extrapolates to Triller and YouTube TV and Amazon and all the other places that AEW pay-per-views are available, then they do not have as hardcore a sicko audience as the other sickos believe, because that's a very casual audience that they choose 1 pay-per-view a year to watch from AEW. So anyway, I'd like everyone's thoughts. If you buy AEW pay-per-views, how many do you buy every year? I want to know how many people say 1. And how many people say every single one? AJ Francis was announced yesterday that he is re-signed with TNA. He'll be there for the remainder of 2026, at least through the remainder of 2026. The former top dollar in NXT and WWE has been with TNA since 2024. And Steve Macklin also, although I think Steve Macklin actually re-signed earlier this year, but they're announcing that he is re-signed right now. We've also got last week's TNA Impact, 249,000 viewers in a 0.04. So it is, I believe, the second highest viewership and the maybe fourth highest 18 to 49, but not bad for TNA. All right, we got some New Japan Cup notes, I think, if I can find them. Hold on one second. Let's see. Our main man, Jeremy Finestone, has been sending these to me. All right, here we go. This is the update on the New Japan Cup. For those that are watching New Japan, Jeremy Finestone, speaking of strong style. First night of action, Yui Uemura beat Great-O-Khan. Don Fale beat Aaron Wolf. Night 2, Narita beat Taichi. Oleg Boltin beat Phantasmo. Night 3, Jake Lee beat Yoshihashi. Callum Newman beat Oscar. And on night 4, Shota Umino beat Chase Owens. Said to be a 20-minute match that went 20 minutes too long. And Ryohei Oiwa beat Yuto Ice. So if you've got New Japan World and you want to know the best matches, that would be Callum Newman versus Oscar, Oleg Boltin and ELP, and Oiwa and Ice. So if you'd like to watch those are the 3 best matches if you're going to pick and choose, like AEW pay-per-view buyers, in fact. Action last night resumed with the Buys getting their first-round matches. Uemura beat Drilla Maloney, and Shingo beat Don Fale. And then on Thursday, that's later this week, Ren Narita faces Kojima. Boltin meets Hinare. And then Friday has Goto and Jake Lee. Oh, my God, Jake Lee. And Hartley Jackson and Callum Newman. So there are 3 former IWGP champions still alive in each quarter of the brackets. And they will be gatekeepers. 3 up-and-coming challengers will be facing them. That's Shingo versus Yuya Uemura. Yui is 0-3 against Shingo. And that's a guaranteed match. Newman versus Goto. Newman is 0-1 against Goto. And Shota versus Zack Sabre Jr. They are both 3-3. So those are likely matchups with the winners going to the Final Four. So that is the New Japan Cup update. We'll talk about Raw and more after the break. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Well, we reviewed SmackDown yesterday, Tom, and you don't even get SmackDown. You're very, just, you know how you are.
Fine. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever.
That's your impression of me?
Yeah, that's my impression of you.
Wow.
So what are we, at least, I hope you at least watch a SmackDown main event.
I watched the entire show.
Okay, because there's a lot of people that still like your review, Tom.
I went on the board, and I saw like 2 people.
Yeah, do you go on Twitter?
Yeah, I do go on Twitter,
You read my emails?
I do go on
the
Twitter.
Text messages? I mean...
Do you go on Twitter? Because if you do,
unfortunately, yes.
You would have seen one of the greatest moments in world history.
In world history, really.
World history. Frank Tate walked away the victor of the fight, but he walked away an even bigger winner when it comes to life. This man completed what I would say is the best high five, the best dap up in the history of the galaxy. This man had his dog. And when I say dog,
barely a dog.
I mean D-O-G and D-A-W-G. This was a dog, baby. The dog was so proud. You can see just the elation in that dog's face. He threw that paw up. He let it hang for a few moments, and then he brought it down for the dap.
Tom's not even doing this justice. Everyone has seen a dog,
Listen.
like you put your hand out and the dog like puts his paw up to shake hands. This freaking dog goes, ah, hapa! Like, what? That was more than a high five. I don't even know what you would even term that. He dunked. He dunked that man.
30 million views on this clip. And that is about 1/10 of what it should have. So if you haven't seen it, you deserve it. Treat yourself. Go to my Twitter. Watch Frank Tate high five his dog.
No, he did not high five his dog.
The dog high fived
his dog high fived him. Yes. He just wanted like a, just boom. And this dog was like, no way, brother. You knock that man out. I'm going to give you a big time dunking high five from way up high. You go high five, up high, down low, too slow. This was an up high. Guy should have pulled his hand away.
It's the best thing you've ever seen.
Man, too slow, Joe. Yeah, it was pretty good. Not going to lie. I liked it. Friendly update. This commercial situation on Netflix still sucks. I tried to go home and watch, see if I missed anything. I wasn't going to watch the whole show again. But I took my daughters and they went to get souvenirs before the Finn Balor thing, so I was going to go see if I'd missed anything. And impossible. I'm watching the replay. I pay for commercial free. That's the key, everybody. It's like, you have ads on your site. I pay specifically for commercial free. That is an option on Netflix, commercial free. I pay for that, and I'm watching the replay of Monday Night Raw, not the live, and I'm stuck with these unskippable commercials, minutes on end, like 8 commercials in a row. And man, that first commercial started, I was like, I'm out of here. I ain't watching this. Stupid. So anyway, Stephanie had that podcast where she was advertising the VPN. They are effectively just driving people to VPNs if they care enough. Some people don't care enough; they just don't watch the show. But it sucks, this commercial thing. And it's a change, by the way. This used to never happen. It is. I used to always watch, the show starts at 5 Pacific. I would get the kids, ready for bed, and then I'd start watching about 8:15. So the show's long over. And it was always like you turn it on and it just goes all the way through, no commercials. You don't even have to skip them. Segment ends, it goes right to the next, like they take the commercials out for you. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. And about a month ago, fun's over, kids. They just immediately, these never-ending death commercials just have been inserted into the show in the most, the worst places imaginable as well, like right in the middle of the matches. You can't even watch the matches. It's just all commercials. So anyway, we'll talk about Raw. I didn't do a report, so I gotta use the report off the front page. But we missed the first segment, but it was basically a segment where Adam Pearce came down to the ring, and then this was just I'm so glad I missed this because I might have just taken the kids and left. They did this silly thing where Seth Rollins, all these masked guys come out of the crowd. There's all these masked guys, like 20 of them in the ring. And the story is, which one is Seth? Well, the one is, the guy who's Seth is the guy who's standing on the announce table. He takes his mask off. He's there with all these geeks. And then the remaining Vision, which with Paul Heyman out, is down to Logan Paul and the guy who Dave couldn't remember his name last night because he's so memorable, Austin Theory. And they come down to the ring, and Seth's plan is he's going to put the mask on, and then all the mask guys are going to run in a circle so you can't figure out which one is Seth. And it's like, why are you doing this? There's 15, 20 of you mask guys and these two geeks. Why are we hiding from them and running from them? How about you beat them up? Nope, they ran from them. And it led to a segment where the Usos also came out, and they're very angry at CM Punk, and they want an apology later on in the show. If anybody thinks they got an apology, spoiler, they didn't. We had the number 1 contender gauntlet match, which I think went 45 minutes, and it was fine. The people were really into Io Sky. Io and Lyra was pretty good, and then they had Ia and Rio, Ia and Raquel, and Raquel ended up winning that when I think Liv Morgan interfered. Stephanie ran down, and then Io came off the top and hit a dive into a small package for the pin. And then it was Ivy Nile and Io, which Ivy won after Raquel beat up Io Sky after the match. And of course, Io has no friends, nobody to come help her, so she looks like an idiot. She gets killed, and Ivy pins her quickly. And then we had Ivy Nile and Bayley, which Bayley won. People were kind of into Bayley. And then Bayley Asuka, which was probably the best match of the matches. And Bayley won. So next week, it's Bayley versus AJ Lee for the Intercontinental title. And Lyra was there. And I don't know, man. I don't know what they're going to do because there's like a story that Bayley's trying to make it to WrestleMania. And they've done this Bayley Lyra thing on and off forever. It just feels like Bayley's going to turn heel again and they're just going to see this match. Because I don't expect her to win. And I think Bayley won the gauntlet because probably AJ's most comfortable opponent is Bayley. They've had big matches before, so I presume that's why Bayley won. But I think it'll play in a WrestleMania as well. But it was a pretty good match. It was very long. Then we had Natty cutting a promo and was attacked by Maxine Dupree, and the people did pop for Maxine. So there's that. Then we had the most bizarre thing I've seen in a long time. So they advertised El Grande Chad would have a match with Penta for the title. So they go backstage, and Danhausen shows up, and Americano is, yelling at him or whatever, tells him to go away. And so Danhausen curses him. Okay? They go to the break, they come back, and El Grande comes down to the ring. And I was watching it just going, wait a second. That's not Chad Gable. That's Ludwig. Why is Ludwig? I could have sworn it was advertised as Chad Gable. And, as a viewer in the building, I had no idea what was going on. And apparently on TV, they didn't know what was going on either. And I guess what happened is when Chad Gable was cursed, they showed Los Americanos lurking like way off in the background. And I guess we were supposed to be paying so much attention and care so much that we would put two and two together that they attacked him and he was then replaced. But like none of this was made clear to the viewing audience on live. And apparently it wasn't made clear to the television audience as well. We just didn't know why the other guy came out. So anyway, Penta and El Grande. Penta ended up winning clean. And somehow this leads to Americano versus Americano next week on the show, even though Ludwig lost and Gable was beat up. I thought the match was fine. Kind of expected it to be better. I thought it'd have way more heat. But honestly, actually, probably the best thing on the show was the Penta promo that he did before this match. When this guy first came to WWE, he had a promo on Raw, and it was out of this world. This guy was like, these fans, they absolutely loved this guy. It was an incredible promo, great delivery. I was like, man, this guy needs to do promos every week. He didn't. So he came out here, same deal, just cut an incredible promo. It's like, oh my God, this guy needs to talk all the time. We'll see if he does, but his promo was probably my favorite thing on the show. I mean, it was great. So then we had Stephanie Vaquer doing a promo on Liv Morgan. I actually missed this, getting souvenirs. Hanale got a yeet, a gold and diamond yeet necklace, which, man, she took one look at that and her eyes got wide, and she was like, I got to have it. So I got her that. And then Paisley wanted the DX bobbleheads, even though she has no idea who either of them are. But it was something where you could get two toys for the price of one, allegedly. So she got that. We had the Dominic Finn Balor segment where Finn calls out Dom and he starts berating him for not helping him. And he should have had his back and this and that. And then Balor says, you got to learn to fight your own battles. Been trying to guide you for 2 years. The more I realize maybe your dad's right. Maybe you are a spoiled little prick. So Dom shoves him. Balor hits the Pele kick. McDonough pulls him apart. And then Dom tries a sneak attack. Balor hits a sling blade. Goes for the running drop kick. And McDonough lays him out with a lariat. And they all beat him down. And when the show was over, we're driving home. And I said, Paisley, what was your favorite thing on the show? And Paisley, as always, goes, all of it. She just loved everything. She was on her feet cheering. She doesn't know anybody on the show. She has no idea what's going on. But she was on her feet going nuts the entire 2 hours and 20 minutes. And, if somebody chanted something, she'd just chant with them, even if it was like, at some point, I think the fans started chanting for Raquel over Bailey or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but she starts chanting for the heel because she doesn't know any better. But anyway, I said, Hanale, what was your favorite part of the show? She goes, when the two girls beat up the boy. And in fact, Liv Morgan and Raquel put the boots to Finn Balor in this segment. And then Dom put the hammer in his boot, did the 619. And good angle. And I'm happy that Balor's turned babyface because it's time. This guy could still, even though he's been around forever, he doesn't look like he's 44, for sure. And he could be a top guy. And we haven't seen him in that position for a long time. So hopefully they do something with him because that thing he did with Punk in Belfast, it was like, this guy is so underutilized. It's crazy. So then we had Kofi telling Javon, you should join our group. Evan said he'd think about it. We had a Bailey promo about next week. Then we had Obafemi versus Rusev. And you ain't in AEW anymore, brother. You're going to do what you're told. And in fact, Obafemi beats him in 2 minutes, pinned him with a pop-up powerbomb. I enjoyed it for the 2 minutes it was out there. So they went immediately, and it's actually kind of weird. I can't figure out what's going on here, but I was there live, and they went from this Obafemi squash to the announcement that Brock Lesnar will be here next week. And I tweeted out, what did I tweet out? Something like he's got to be Brock's opponent or something like that. It was a vague tweet like immediately after the segment aired. I'll find it because it's notable. After that, he kind of has to face Brock, I tweeted. So I tweet that out, and then immediately I start getting all these people talking about Danhausen. So I don't know if, like, something aired out of order. I saw things in the building in a different order, apparently, than some people saw it on television or something. Because when I tweeted out that thing about Brock, everybody was like, it was apparently during a Danhausen segment, which was much earlier on the version that I saw. I don't know what happened. It was weird. Maybe you guys saw something at home we didn't see. But anyway, Brock Lesnar is going to be here next week. AJ Bailey, El Grande, and Roman Reigns appeared. So maybe we will get El Grande in a mask match coming up at WrestleMania, in which case they have to unmask Gable because, this Ludwig is the far superior Americano. Then we had the main event segment with CM Punk and the Usos, and they come out and they want him to apologize. And he has, every excuse in the book. Well, I knew Roman's father and his brother, and I used to run the roads, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like, we don't care, dude. You got to apologize. And Punk does not want to apologize. So they're all kind of yelling at each other. And then finally Punk goes, he shakes Jay's hand. He goes, I'm sorry. Shakes Jimmy's hand, says he's sorry. And then, of course, it's the old swerve. I'm sorry you guys have just been manipulated by this guy for so long. And so they get angry, and they shove him, and he gets punched. And literally the show ends with CM Punk looking at the Usos as they leave. And when it was over, it was like, what the hell has this got to do with anything? Like, are we going to have Punk facing both guys leading up to Mania? Guess we'll find out. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Just a quick note before this free video. If you click like and subscribe, I'd be very thankful. Jared, put old Granny on. Let's see what she's up to. Oh, man, she's doing something. Oh, Lord.
She's trying to plug in the box, Brian.
Granny can't connect. And so I call her on the phone, and she alerts us that she apparently knocked the box off her desk. Whatever's happening right there, that doesn't look good. She knocked down the camera now? What's going on?
She's got a hold of the camera, I think.
She's okay. Well, we've got the ceiling at least. There's the box. Hey, we got the box, Jared. Does it look like it's plugged in?
No.
It's definitely not on.
No.
Okay. That's her back, I believe. She appears to be doing something.
Apparently yoga.
That's her hair. Are we sure that's not Ric Flair? Now she's got to find the phone, too.
Think anyone's going to still subscribe after the show?
I hope we get a bunch of video signups. This is interesting.
Is it now?
Oh, man, we can almost see the front of the tie line to see if it's on. But we can't. We can only see the side of it, as well as a flashlight and dice. I don't know why there are dice there.
Well, you never know when you're going to play dice in the dark.
She's still doing something.
That's good radio, boss.
Show that again, what's she doing?
You know what's a good show is the Big VNV show.
Is it?
Or if you Pod Armenia 2025.
She might be tying her shoe or something.
Ed and San Antonio show.
Granny is furiously doing something. It's possible that we should sabotage the box every week.
No!
So that she can, get up and down like Roddy Piper once said. No, I know. I'm calling you. Phone. I'm calling you. Oh, my God. How are you?
I'm exhausted. Oh, I want to tell Vinny I watched his show today.
Thank you, Granny. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Good. That sounded very sincere.
Stunning review. Well, can we please make that into a commercial, Jared, for Vinny's show? Apple Podcast carries every podcast that we produce.
Oh, I want to tell Vinny I watched his show today.
Thank you, Granny. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
So check it out, f4wonline.com/Apple. Try your free trial today. What is happening here? Yes, Granny?
I don't care if it's show or what. My computer went out and I can't fix it.
Okay. Jared, can you fix Granny's computer?
He tried to get a pin.
I am Steve.
Brian, what are you doing?
Now my child is sending me a voice message.
Steel chicken jockey.
In the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Alive. So, apparently breaking news, Nino Hamburguesa released from AAA on Friday. He was certainly a unique individual. I like watching Nino Hamburguesa. But apparently there was he was at an indie show and something happened and he hit a fan. And you can't do that. And it looks like he has been released. Lucha Blog confirmed. And we'll have more on the front page here after a while. So, well, he's off WrestleMania. Not that he was going to be on, but got to find out what's going on, everybody. We got NXT tonight, which is a follow-up to the paper. The PLE really rolls off the tongue this past weekend. But we got some matches announced for the show. And those include Ethan Page and Ricky Saints versus Joe Hendry and Miles Bourne. And, man, we're a little over 4 weeks away from... Actually, I think 3 weeks away from Stand and Deliver. And we don't know where Stand and Deliver is airing, nor do we have any idea what's going on with the NXT title. So they got to get some stuff going tonight. Ren Sinclair, Thea Hale, Speed Tournament Finals. Tavion Heights, Charlie Dempsey versus Lexus King and Uriah Connors, which I presume is Tavion getting a Horseman beatdown, and Charlie joins the group. And Jasper Troy, Eli Knight, and Sean Legacy. Jasper Troy wants to beat these two dudes and then get his Speed title back. So that's tonight, everybody. Check it out. We'll be back tomorrow with Filthy Tom Lawler, talk AEW Dynamite, and plenty more. Thanks for listening, folks. Sign up today at WrestlingObserver.com for more, or Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. Bryan and Vinny's show tonight. Another WWE, one of those tapes from the 90s. Those are always fun. Slam, bam, something or other, ma'am. We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.